Startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the Lean Startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Kukui Institute's Startups on the Blocks. My name is Lloyd Richard Jr. I am not the normal host of the show today, but Lloyd Sr. will be on momentarily to welcome us into the show. But I wanted to get us started just talking about the amazing year we've had in 2024 with our Black Founder Program. Our Black Founder Program has assisted African American founders throughout the state of Florida to and abroad to start their startups and validate their startups to the next level to get them to their minimum viable product. So we just want to highlight a little bit of the work that has been happening with Lloyd Richard Sr. and all the coaches, mentors, as well as our sponsors and partners, which we want to thank today. Our first, we want to talk about our partners for our organization. That is Blacks in Technology, Coda, Make Startups, Pitchbot.io, LeanStack, the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, Black Innovation Alliance, and Goody Nation. These are our many, many sponsors. We definitely want to first lift up Florida Power and Light. They have been integral into making sure that our events, like our demo days for our 90-day, as well as our 30-day business model design, has been a success, and each of our winners are presented with cash prizes. So it's pretty amazing to be able to be in a space where we can give out cash prizes in that way. We also want to thank Innisfree Hotels, Renaissance Bank, First Bank. Here he is.
Hello.
Hello. I'm just going through some of our sponsors and partners here.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Equity Project Alliance, the SBDC at the University of West Florida, the Haas Center as well, CoLab, the Watson Firm, again, Blacks in Technology of Pensacola, which Lloyd Sr. is also the president of. Definitely you should join if you have not done so already. The Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce, Synapse Summit, and Quinn Studer, Synergy Construction Group, Clark Partington, Attorneys at Law, and the City of Pensacola, as well as Innisfree Hotels. We just want to thank them for their commitment to excellence and making sure that founders throughout the state of Florida and elsewhere can get the training that they need. So what do we do at the Black Founders Program? We stress test your business idea. And I think that is the largest thing and the most important factor in starting your own business is making sure that it's viable, that customers want your idea and how to make that happen. So we introduce AI and through business models, and you use AI prompting to help you build your lean canvas and build and validate your startup. We break down your big ideas into important business parts as well as explore different ways your business can work based on your customers. Then we test that business idea. Is it desirable? Is it viable? Is it feasible? Those are very important things. And as we heard 2 weeks ago at the 30-day demo day, one of the big things that I talked with the founders about was seeing if the business can be viable and if the startup can be viable, making sure that you use the traction roadmap that we have in the lean stack to make sure that your business can actually make money, because that's really ultimately what you're pitching at the end of the day. Then you have the interactive activities and real life examples, taking part in fun exercises that help you predict trends through AI. And you look at examples of how AI has helped other successful businesses. And I think that is the particular key that we look for, is that making sure that our founders can see other founders of color being successful in their business idea. And so we have a lot of coaches that help us do that. And as we've met, so I want to just introduce a few of those to you because they have been amazing. Let me get to that slide. I know that was really fun. There it is. So we have our team here. Corey Nestor Hubert, he is one of our most amazing coaches who is in the trenches with our founders, along, of course, with Lloyd Sr. And then we have a whole host of people in the background there, as you see listed, particularly Rosarian Cook and Darnell Davis, who actually went through our program, the 30-day and the 90-day program, and they have given back to our founders in each of these cohorts throughout 2024. So it's been really an exciting opportunity to work with them. And then in that previous slide that you saw with the other founders, with the other judges here, I wanted to share with you. In our demo day 2 weeks ago, Rose and Ira were there as our guest judges, along with Caleb. And Coach Lucy came for our 90-day, and I know I'm missing a few others, but they were all there. And they have come time and time again throughout this year to really give our founders unique ideas, industry-based ideas, as well as structural-based ideas for their business. So we want to thank each and every one of these people we see on the screen, because they have helped us be where we are today. And very often they want to connect with our founders and their startup. Many of them, like Coach Lucy, for example, has a startup of her own that she's been doing for now 7 years. And so she has a really deep, clear advice that really can help each one of our founders. So that being said, how are you doing, Dad?
Doing good. I'm glad to be off the road. Thanks for filling in for me.
Yes. We've all been driving today,
Yes.
getting ready for a family event. So we're not in Northwest Florida today, but we are still doing the work.
Yes. And there's a lot of things going on out here in the startup world, and just want to make sure everybody is attuned to what's happening and taking advantage of some of the opportunities that are out here. And while I got you on here, a lot of the founders, they have full-time jobs, and they some may struggle, with trying to get the training done, and but you have a pretty busy schedule. What do you think about all the stuff you got going on, and how do you manage to get it all done?
Google Calendar. I'm very big on personal time management. How do you get and deadlines? So those are the things that I really try to focus on for myself personally.
Yes.
I am a musician and a professional artist, music artist. So very often, much of the work that I do is run by me until you have an agent or management in that regard. And so, one of the things that really helps is making sure you have a very solid way of scheduling, contracting. And then the other thing for me that helps keep me on board is deadlines. If you don't have put deadlines for yourself, you won't put it at the priority of how it needs to be done. So I highly encourage our founders when they're working through it with so many other things is to make sure they put deadlines on their work, and that will give them that push that they need to at least try to get it done in the time that they've allotted to do it.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. So, kind of, what do you kind of think that? How did you build that discipline of using your calendar and stuff like that?
Well, I realized after I first started with some private teaching, and many musicians do private teaching to supplement their performance income and their performances. And so I was doing private teaching, and I was getting so many students that I couldn't keep track of where they were, how they were doing, and let alone making sure that the payments were happening on time and things of that nature. And so it really became vital that I had a way of organizing my students, organizing my schedule. That way, there was not a issue with double booking or misunderstanding, and so I found that Google Calendar and Google Workspace now in my business has been a vital help. Anytime there's a meeting, anytime there's a task that needs to be done, by placing it in there, it kind of takes the heat off of your own brain of trying to hold that stuff in it and trying to figure it out and remember it. And you just follow what it gives you every morning when you're ready to start your day and do your work. So
Yeah, and I guess in the past too, we've talked about, in your profession, you getting ready to perform and how you train or prepare um, for doing a show of an opera or whatever, and sometimes I kind of relate it to pitching.
mm.
Yeah, and so can you kind of fill the audience in on some of the things you do to prepare, for opera performance, and give them an idea how that might relate to, pitching your startup.
Well, particularly because I am in the classical performing arts, like opera and musical theater, it we prepare things that have been around for hundreds of years, and so we have to make sure we do our due diligence with the details from the very beginning about like what the story is about, who is our character, how is this production going to be done, that kind of thing, and so. There's a lot of back work that people don't see before we get onto the stage. And so one of the things that I equate when I see our founders pitching is we have a 3-minute time limit for them in the 30-day to pitch. And very often they have not prepared to put all their information that they're supposed to pass within those 3 minutes. And I think sometimes that in the beginning stages that founders just think that they can either wing it or they speak eloquently enough to do it. But truthfully, you must practice. And I will say that I just recently was at a wedding, and they don't know that I did this, but I was asked by the bride to give a speech, and she said it needed to be 2 minutes. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT, wrote down what I wanted to say, and told ChatGPT to put it within a 2-minute time frame. And so really just sticking to the script. I think that's a very performing arts way to say it, is stick to the script and say everything that you do need to say within that time
Yeah,
frame.
and
Awesome. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, yeah. So like one thing I wanted to mention, you in the opera performance, it's a story, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and Ash with the Lane Stack and many other folks that help people with pitching, they say you have to tell a story because the audience brain is wired for storytelling.
Yep.
So if you're pitching and you're not telling a story, you don't connect with the audience as well. So
And I also want to just say too, even for my students and for myself, when I think of a song, I just tell my voice students, you are a storyteller. That is what
okay,
I tell you. Like, I don't think of a song and be like, oh, you're going to make a nice tone, or, oh, you're going to just, make people feel good or something like that. It all comes from telling a story. What does the song and the lyrics say? And so I think that's something that we all run by. And I don't think the average person thinks of a song as a story in that way.
it never happened.
Yeah, it is exactly. And so the moment a performer thinks of a story, the song of the story that way, then they can work on giving that to the audience and releasing that sense of fear and nervousness that comes with presentation. And a lot of times people struggle with that because they get super, super nervous. I know,
Yeah.
I think Catrice was talking in the last presentation that she was doing, how nervous she was the first time in the 30 day doing her thing. And I remember she was like shaking backstage, but they couldn't see it on the thing. And but part of that is practice helps you feel more secure, because then if you're going to just turn on and do it, then there's no you don't have to be stressed about it, because you've said everything you need to say, you've worked it out, you've planned accordingly. So by the time you do it, it will be real quick. And yeah.
So but doesn't the story format also lends itself to helping you understand what you need to say when you need to say it?
Well, it should, but I
Yeah,
think at the beginning stages, when you don't know what you don't know, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just follow the instructions and follow the story, because that's what it's going to say, everything that the investors and the people who you're pitching to need to hear. But also, when you go back and you listen to your own pitch, you can be inspired by your own work. And I think that's also something that's equally surprising. And I would encourage some of the founders to do, like, go back to some of the videos of our previous demo days and see how they felt moved by their own pitch.
mhm,
And that is so analogous to singing, because with my voice students and myself, when I rehearse or when I even do a performance, if I record that performance, I will go back and listen to it to see what type of product that I gave.
mhm.
And that helps me inform how I could do it better, because you're your own worst critic at the end of the day. And anything that investor or somebody can say to you will just be like, oh no, but you will also look at your work and say, oh, I really need to button that up. And so it's also self-motivating too, that I think people could really have some feedback with. And I would encourage a lot of our founders to do that, is to go back and watch their pitch and see how well they did.
Great, great. I would agree with that 100%. And what I noticed that in our 30-day, um, the this traction slide comes up in regard to your metrics and your rollout plan, and that traction um, curve, growth curve. It's kind of like a money curve, a traction curve, and so it's actually telling a story, and so you could tell a lot from that traction roadmap, and so that's one of the most important slides, because investors or ecosystem people, they measure a startup based on based on their traction, and so when you don't understand that traction curve, you're in trouble, because that's how the, you know that's how they tell whether your business model is actually working or not. And
Yeah.
so that's what's so significant about that. And so what I would encourage the founders is spend some time understanding that, because it starts from setting a goal and having that customer factory, getting people into the sales funnel, and then using uh, that viability test to generate the number of people you need to get into your sales funnel to kind of grow at that 10x rate. And so I saw a lot in last week with the 90-day founders, and I also saw in the 30 days, the week before, it's that the founders were actually struggling with understanding what that traction roadmap story is actually telling. If I get a minute, I'll show a little bit more about that later.
Yeah, I have a question too.
Sure.
I wonder if on the traction roadmap, there can be sometimes a little bit of a fear about realizing that your business is not making as much money as it should be making. And so like it might have this sense of, oh, I need to go back to the beginning. Can you kind of speak on that a little bit? Maybe like, does a founder have to go all the way back to the beginning of resetting up their business if they find that their numbers don't pan out well for the traction roadmap? Or is that just saying they have to find a way to scale the business?
No, the traction roadmap tool in the lean stack framework, it's there as a tool to help you figure out what pricing model will help your startup be viable. And so so I was talking to a founder a couple of days ago. Matter of fact, it was just yesterday, I believe. And so the numbers her on her traction roadmap, it said she only needed 4 customers like 3 months from now. And so so she was having trouble figuring out what was wrong with that. And the first thing is that if you scaling at a 10x rate and it's saying 3 months from now you only need three customers, and a year from now you only need so many customers. A small amount of customers, to me, the goal is too small that the person has. And so if you don't set a large enough goal, so that's what it's actually telling you. But what it's really telling you, if your numbers, customer requirements are low, but it's designed, the 10x approach is designed to scale, have slower growth in the beginning, so you can actually learn from your customers. But if your numbers are really, really low, and let's say it only requires you to get 100 or 50 people in your sales funnel each month, and your pricing is around $50 a month, you can't run a company with that many customers.
Yeah.
And so that's what's wrong with it. And so it's but it's all there, but sometimes it just takes time for it to soak in, and that's what the challenge is. And so just like you said, you leverage ChatGPT to help you getting your talk down to 2 minutes. But when you do something and you're not sure about it, or if you think you're sure about it, I would still question it. So, is that go? Is that, and that's one way you can use these large language model is just ask questions about your results and say, well, is that a good number? But to me, when you really think about business and you know what your pricing model is, and you kind of start like Corey always say, you have to know what your costs are. But even if you don't know what your costs are, you have an idea what they are. So if you set a goal for 100,000 in annual recurring revenue, and in 3 years, that's like a one person or less, not even a full-time thing there, and so you have to think. But it just takes time, and people just have to keep asking questions to kind of make sure they kind of get what's going on. But I that's what I leverage AI for. So, like for example, I think it's probably over a year ago. Working with the founders and so and trying to help them understand what the traction roadmap was doing. So what I did was I said I did a prompt. I said act as if you were Ash Maria, and you just finished reviewing the traction roadmap with the founder. How would you explain to them if it was if they were good or bad? And so it's just you can kind of leverage that. And I have like two stories that are kind of related, but the purpose of the traction roadmap is geared to each customer segment. And some people if you don't take time to understand it, all you're doing is evaluating the customer segment. And so like I was at an event yesterday and listening to a talk, and we had an AI talk afterwards. But the gentleman, I had met him when he first started his business 11 years ago. And so he had just got out of the video, graphics training from SCADS or whatever that university. He had an office in our building. And then he moved to a slightly bigger building. But he led off his talk yesterday, and he said that over the past 11 years, we made over $40 million. But what he said before that, he says he said our company works with orthodontics. He didn't say what the company does. He just said our company works with orthodontics doctors, and we help them grow their business. And so, but I knew he had a video production company and marketing company. And so the moral of that story was that he started off, he was getting whatever customers he can get and wasn't thinking about his customers. But somehow or another, he found this niche with orthodontics having trouble growing their business. And so they focused on that customer segment and kind of grew their business. Wow. And so, so that's kind of what the deal is. So the next story I wanted to mention, and this is a tool that came on the market last month. It's called Bolt.new, BOLT.new. And so I got this email saying that this company went from zero revenue to a projected annual $4 million in annual recurring revenue in 4 weeks.
Wow.
So would you say they have good traction or not?
That's great traction. That's incredible.
Yeah.
In a month's time, that's crazy.
Yeah, but so most businesses, most startups, they want a web application or website, but mainly a web application. And so that's what this Bolt.new does. You just use natural language to tell what you want a website for and a web application for. And so this thing goes from that talk to actually deploying your application on a server. So it goes through testing and everything and allows you to train it without being a coder. But what they did that was unique was they combined what they were already doing for a coding environment with Anthropic's Claude model and created a product that allowed you to do all that with just natural language. And so since so many non-technical founders want to build something and they may not have a technical co-founder, but the deal is to be honest with you too, a lot of founders, non-technical founders, they don't realize the significance of the 30-day business model design class, because it's literally designed for you to be able to pitch how you make money to a CTO or a co-founder that can actually help you build it.
Right.
But the thing is, as a founder, you have to learn about these AI tools, so you can turn your idea into reality. So you can find out what all the different customer segments. I ran into another guy, and he stopped me after our AI talk yesterday, and he said he has an idea for a startup. He's got a full-time job now, but he's thinking about retiring in 4 or 5 years. So he wants to get started on this thing. And so he said he knows who he wants to sell it to. He's all excited. And so, but the question is that particular customer segment he wants to sell it to, is it the one that's going to help him reach his goal?
Mm.
And so that's kind of what the big question is. So we as founders, we kind of think we know what we want, we know who we want to sell it to in some cases, but that's why it's best to leverage AI and take a step back and explore all the customer segments to see the one that's going to get you to the product market fit. And so that's kind of what that.
Well, in the 90-day too, that was one of the things when I spoke with those founders last week.
Yeah.
They were really that was one of their biggest hurdles that they had to come through, is realizing that what maybe their initial idea was and what they thought their startup was going to be had to change.
Yes.
And it was almost like, I think one of them even described it as a death, or like a grieving process of moving through that. Yeah, because it's like you work so hard on it, and then you have to change and like shift gears. But that shifting of gears is not shifting away from the work that's necessary. You just realize that the customers, you may want to do something, but the customers need something else, and that's going to drive the success of your work more so than what you think in your mind will do it.
Yeah. So like at the end of the 30 day, you may end up with like 3 customer segments where, at the beginning of the 30 day, when you break it, your lean canvas up into the customer segment variants, you may end up with 5 or 6 customer segments. But when you do the stress tests for desirability, it may knock out one of the customer segments. When you do the traction roadmap customer factor stuff for the viability test, it may knock out at least one of them. And then the rollout plan test for the feasibility stress test, it may knock out another. So you may end up with 2 or 3 customer segments going into the 90 day, but at the end of the 90 day, you probably at the most you're going to have 2 customer segments left. And then by the time you get to that product market fit, you would narrow down that one customer segment that's gonna get get your thing on autopilot. But it's the whole thing about it. It's just stopping and thinking about your idea or your business and how to grow it. And so if you try to grow it by trying to service all these different customer segments, you might not grow as fast if you figure out the customer segment that's actually you can give the most value to, create the most value for, to kind of move forward. So but that's and most what I've noticed is, and this kind of hurts me a little bit, is I've probably given like 3 or 4 or 5 talks in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and just about every talk I gave, the people are not familiar with the startup ecosystem and how to leverage it to kind of grow their business or start from an idea and get help to kind of go through these processes, these milestones, and kind of move forward. And so just by the folks not paying attention, or to think this training is not for them, it's only for technical. To say that, well, I was talking to a lady
Mm,
last night. She said, well, it's she assumed what I was doing was only for technical founders,
yeah.
and so I've been knowing her like 2.5 years. But people make their own self determinations about what they think you're doing,
Hmm.
and and the founders, even the one that go through the 30 days but think they don't need the 90-day, that they're really just causing themselves some pain and heartache, from moving forward. And that so in the background behind all that is Ash, and Rick. They've been working with thousands of startup teams, and taking them through these processes, and working on all these different accelerator programs, all these different universities. So they've been there, done that, and they're learning what's worked faster than a lot of other people
Yeah.
to do it. And so whatever they learn, they're actually passing it on. But the bottom line is, when you can't pitch your business model, and you don't leverage the ecosystem to kind of move forward, you're just leaving resources on the table that can help you grow your business much faster. You
Yeah.
know, so that's kind of what the deal is.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that also serves like curiosity is important too.
Oh
One
yeah,
of the things that we talk about a lot is just like if you don't know about it, or if you get into the lean canvas and you've gotten assigned for the Florida Black Founder Program, or you just wanted to see it and they contacted you and you get assigned into a cohort, and you can see all the training, you can see all the videos, you can start creating the lean canvases right away. Part of it is just exploring, and I
yeah,
think
yeah,
sometimes people won't even go as far as to just explore and see what it is,
yeah,
and go through it and read through in detail. And to have a resource like you have every Saturday open for people to come in and ask questions and stuff like that about what you're experiencing, that is part of that space. Some of that is self-driven, and if you're going to run a business or start a business, you have to have some sense of initiative, your own kind of initiative, your own drive to do that. Because at the beginning stages, it needs that drive, or if it's not going to happen, And so, and then once it's up and going, the structure of that business will start to manifest. But I think like
yeah,
just making sure that you're exploring and being creative and being hungry to learn are big aspects in starting a business, because you are doing a lot that you don't know. If you run a business, you may have to be in charge of a lot of things that you don't know fully how they work, and
yes.
how startup founders manage that is a key component to what their success is going to be. I feel like in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Uh, the uh, I don't know if you remember, I've even realized my job as an engineer working for the Air Force Research Lab. You know, yeah, I learned a lot of stuff, but one thing I learned it from being in the research lab is that you have to have a process, a
Mm,
methodology for doing stuff. Because if you're building something that's never been built before, you have to have a methodology to follow. And in the startup world, the lean stack and the lean startup is the methodology that you
mhm.
follow. And so because you're building something that may have never been built before,
Yeah.
and in the research lab, that's basically what we did. Is we knew some capabilities that the military needed, and then we came up with ideas to meet uh, uh, those capabilities. But we had to pitch those ideas in
Mhm.
order to get funding to explore the idea. And talking about the AI stuff, the the problem that I started trying to solve in the mid '90s was like how do you process data in real time because if you're trying to find the target that might destroy somebody on your side or some resource on your side, you need to be able to do that. But the problem is it requires so much data processing to do that. And so I had this idea, well, I need to just figure out some alternative ways to do that. And I didn't know what the alternative ways are. So I just started, investigating and found that AI was the number one way to process data in real time. And so when you can process data in real time, it's like computing. But the other thing that people forget, and this is as a startup founder, you need to learn as fast as you can. What's the fastest way to learn? It's like you leveraging the AI tools to analyze the data that you're working with. And so AI and all the tools that are out there, that you leverage them so you can learn about the business you're in faster, about the customer segments and the job they're trying to do. You leveraging that and just learning, trying to understand the Lean Stack platform. So just start ask AI questions. What's the value proposition of Lean Stack? You see what I'm saying? And you sort of get the point. You just have to keep asking questions. You said be curious. That is what you have to do. If you're not curious, you're not going to learn. And so that. But the reason why, as a startup founder, and you want the AI, and this is what even Ash said, all the major companies, they have the capability to build stuff. They got the tools to build stuff, and so their competition between each other is how fast you can learn from your customer to kind of keep growing that customer base. So you, as a founder, it's the same thing. How are you going to speed up your learning process? And you have to have access to tools that to analyze information and data, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you were leveraging ChatGPT a little bit there.
I figured you get a kick out of that. But I think it has really grown a lot more, and hearing the founders from the pitch competition, from the demo day, and from the 90-day report, they really, even if whatever extent that they use ChatGPT or any other AI tool. They all agreed that they felt like it was a personal assistant that they could at least bounce ideas off of at that time. And then I think the people that are actively engaging it and realizing the power and the speed at which it gives information.
Yeah. And so I listened to the judges deliberate about the founders last week. And for those of you who are wondering why we weren't live, the 90-day we were doing the 3P progress report, so the founders could kind of have some external accountability for what they were doing, and so several of the founders was making really good money, but their report didn't illustrate that. Yeah. But the way you reflect it is through your traction roadmap. But if you don't leverage your traction roadmap as a tool, they don't understand, and so some of the people that didn't win any money, they actually had made more money than some of the people who won.
Yeah,
you see, and so the one person that the person that won first place, the revenue was probably the lowest revenue.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? But that's all because the people that were doing the revenue, they didn't know how to communicate, what they were doing through the slides.
Yeah.
And so
that's amazing.
So that's why you have to understand. So the key message is there's thousands and thousands of startup founders out there. So the investors or ecosystem organizations, they don't have time to help everybody or invest in everybody. So what they look for is the startups who have traction.
Mhm.
Even from an idea thing, even at the idea stage,
Yeah.
what kind of traction you have, as you get to but so that's kind of what it's just to me. And I want to mention this too. So
Mhm.
just 'cause this is about the learning part. So I was doing a workshop Saturday morning, and so I was going through the process of the 90 days. So one of the participants thought they needed to learn everything I was showing them instantly as I was showing them what the process is. And,
Mm.
and so the reason why I show the process and show the slides, so your brain can get an idea what the big picture is. So when you're working on this step 1 or step 3, you know how it fits in the big picture. If you don't have any
Yeah.
context, you can't you don't know how it fits in, and your brain doesn't wire up correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
Gotcha.
takes years. So I have a couple of announcements. At first, I wanted to congratulate uh, Don Brightful. He won the first place last week at
Mhm.
$500, and then
I mean,
Eric,
5,000.
huh?
How much did he win? 500?
2,500, and
2,500. Wow.
yeah, and then Eric. Um, uh, what's Eric's last name? He.
Oh, yeah, Eric Dozier. Mhm.
Yeah, he won the $1,500 second place prize,
Yeah.
and Danny Bolden won the $1,000
Yeah.
prize. But I just congratulate them for the hard work, and
Absolutely.
and so so it's definitely was worth their effort, and so and Catrice, she did a good job in the program, and she's making money. But the whole idea of the 90-day program is to establish a process to get
Mhm.
repeatable sales, and so that's what's important
Yeah.
uh, there. And one of the folks that didn't had was pitch was rated high. They hadn't uploaded all their work to the platform,
Mhm.
so they had a good pitch, but they hadn't did the work in the platform.
Mm.
So that was part of the score. And
Yeah.
so so it's definitely just wanted to take a minute and graduate them. But I also
Yeah.
did you show the Black Founder slide? Yeah, I think you were talking
Yes.
about mine. Yeah, so I definitely want people to go to apply.kakuinstitute.org, and we need some more people to go through the 30-day on their own, and we'll help them get through it on their own. But
Mhm.
at the beginning of the year, we're going to start another 90-day program, and so to kind of get people through that. And the 90-day program is full of AI as well. And
Mhm.
by the time that happens, um, the Lean Stack platform will have some AI built into it. They've already released it to us coaches, but
Mm.
it would also have. But the AI in the 90-day program is called the Customer Forces AI, and so the stuff that used to take founders hours to do with the customer forces, it actually does it in minutes, so
Wow.
instantly almost. And so it's a really neat tool for understanding the forces, customer forces, and the job to be done that the customer is trying to get done. So it literally brings clarity to design your solution and create a mafia offer to see if you can validate the demand for your product or service before you even build it. So
Mhm.
that's so we definitely want to even if you've already been through the 30-day, you may want to just go back in there, and because you have to kind of you have to do so as you read the material it has exercises, and you have to read the material, immediately do the exercise, read the next material, do the exercise, read the next material, do the exercise, because you only learn from doing. You don't learn
Yeah.
from reading. You learn from doing, and so that's what's key there. And so yeah, there's so definitely want people to do that, and we're gonna have a sign up form for our patent hacks. We'll have that available uh, by the beginning of December, and so
Okay.
people can start enrolling in the patent hack things to learn about um, uh, trademarks and patents. And
Mm.
so the patent hacks, basically what it does, it uses AI to help you generate a patent or trademark application. And you definitely need to protect your intellectual property. That's what innovation is, because
Mm.
when three co-founders start working on the idea, they they come up with ways to solve the problem, and some of those ways you solve the problem, or they're definitely intellectual property, and so you
Mm.
want to know how to protect it. And so, like the example with the company I was telling you about that was doing video editing
Mm.
for
For
companies.
orthodontists.
Yeah, and helping them with their marketing. So as a result of working with these orthodontists, they actually created a their own framework for taking orthodontists and helping run their business, and so they trademarked their framework.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's what happens when you're doing it. And so the other thing I wanted to kind of, so those are two announcements there, and I will let a few people into the um, founders into our AI based co-founder OS. So that actually measures your entrepreneurship skills too. We'll get some
Mm.
folks in there to kind of run through that before the end of the year. So that would be a great opportunity. And so the other thing that's been going on with me, because a lot of the work that we do, we need help doing it. So we leverage AI tools to kind of help us do it.
Yeah.
And so I was in a meeting yesterday, I believe it was. What I was telling you all about a couple of weeks ago was the Eddie AI, EDD,
Mm.
Eddie AI. And so that founder, that team, they have weekly meetings, to get feedback from their users to make sure they're building what the users actually want. And so they're letting users use their product until the end of the year, the beginning of next year.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and so, but it's just an interaction to kind of get feedback. And so that's a perfect example uh, of how you as a founder has to work with potential customers to understand what job they're trying to do. So
Mm.
like we've been doing these sessions um, for almost 4.5 years now, and having these weekly videos, and there's probably tons of clips in there that we could use. And hey, Eddie AI, and I think it's heyeddie.ai. It
Mm.
We can literally prompt those videos and tell it what we are interested in. But what I love about it is you don't even have to remember what was on the video, you,
Mm.
and you can ask Eddie to say, "Hey, Eddie, suggest um, 10 prompts that I can get some good clips based on um, what's in there," and it
Wow.
generates those prompts that you can actually get that information. So now you as a company, you if you got some materials, the video stuff, you can literally use all those clips as the beginning of your sales funnel to content to get people into your sales funnel. And that
Wow.
goes for any business, and so that's really good. So also with the folks at the beginning of the year, all of our new cohorts, we're going to integrate the TASCADE, TASKADE .ai.com or whatever into the thing, because as you, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about real quick, was you like details and understanding what the task is. And I'm not a detail person, but TASCADE allows you to get to that level of detail. And so I just had the feeling that maybe when maybe our founders they have these assignments to do, maybe they don't understand them enough that they don't get started on them. So with TASCADE, the founder will have the ability to kind of use AI to understand all the subtasks and subtasks associated with something.
Well, from what you showed me with TaskAid, I definitely would say that is an invaluable resource for founders who are going to be able to use that, because they can literally talk about a whole project and the tasks that need to go to even set those projects up in one space and list it out and edit it and work through it to provide details, timelines, everything. It's quite impressive. And, these are those kind of tools that, of course, someone who is a project manager or something like that will love it for one aspect of it. But for a person who doesn't know anything about that, it's also helpful because it will list out those things that need to happen and give them a framework of where to start,
Yeah.
So.
And so one of the takeaways for me was that we as founders need to get project and product managers involved in what we're doing, so they can kind of help lead and guide us through these processes. And so I think that's just get friends with some product and project managers, get friends with some AI folks. And I hear this thing about people have really good ideas, potentially good ideas, and they don't know where to get started, and they limit their thinking they have to know how to do it, instead of realizing that you have to pull a team together to do it. And so people have these great ideas and actually have expertise, patentable expertise that they've experienced from their life's journey, but they don't know how to leverage AI to kind of do it. But you've got these tools out there that you can keep asking, what do I need to do? Who do I need to get on my team? It's nothing is a mystery anymore.
Yeah.
When you actually leverage the tools. I think we can kind of wind up so I have some questions in the email that I sent out. So like, what email list are you subscribed to? What Google alerts do you have? What podcasts do you subscribe to? Who do you follow on LinkedIn that's supporting founders and helping them grow their business? It's just so many resources out there. But if you don't connect to these resources, so what's so fabulous about the ecosystem, if you understand what you want to do and what you're building, you can connect to the organizations that'll support that, and you don't have to go looking for stuff. They send it to you.
Yeah, that's right.
It's really amazing. So those are some of the questions you should be asking. There's no shortage of opportunities. My email box gets flooded with them, every day, and so. But in the last thing I'll say, and we can get on off here, is we try to help founders close that knowledge gap, and with that Lean Stack platform, you will understand how to build stuff and what milestones you need to go, and then the Startup Science, all the questions you would have and it's got answers to almost anything you as a startup. And they just released a new version of the software yesterday or today, and so definitely you should have got an email for that, and so it's but it's still got the same stuff in it, but it's gonna it's just a faster platform now, but it's still a work in progress as well. But it's definitely going to be useful for us to work with founders. So, but yeah, so just close that knowledge gap. Don't make any excuses. Don't hold yourself back. Get that mindset right, and that's what the thing is with the AI. You have to get that mindset correctly. AI is a tool to help me do my job better. Yeah, and I can leverage AI to help me build something. I can leverage AI to help me analyze something or understand something. Stop making all these excuses. You got everything at your fingertips right now. So just keep moving forward. Already.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So what's happening next week, Lloyd Jr.?
Well, we will be in Sierra Leone is what will be happening next week. So, so I don't know that we will be on having a show, but
well, yeah. Let's see. Well, we have what's her name? I call her the modern day. What do you call it? From the NASA show, the ladies.
Modern day hidden figure.
Yeah, she's a modern day hidden figure. So she's made some progress on Bisa, I think Bisa Peterson. She'll be on next week. I'm trying to think of who's filling in for me. I don't have to make sure I get somebody to fill in for us next week. But why are we going over to Africa? I guess that's what the big question
is. We are going to Africa because your daughter, my sister, is getting married. And so we are going to celebrate. The whole family is going to celebrate and get to meet our new family.
Yeah. So I understand you're going to instantly have some nephews and a nephew and a couple of nieces.
Yes. Yes, whom I've met online already several times, and they're the most adorable kids ever. So I'm looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah. So yes, it should be an adventure, as we always said. Going to a new place and meeting new people and just being present. And so I hope tonight helped out a lot. But go out there and leverage AI and build something, and get hooked into the network. Tony out there, he's been applying for stuff, and but you just never know when you apply and you learn. If you don't apply, you don't learn, and so that's what. We really appreciate all of you all out there, and look forward to continue working with you all to help you grow your business. And so don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll be glad to do what we can to connect, and all that good stuff. All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you all. We will have, like I said, we'll have a show next week, but we'll have a guest host, and then the following week it's Thanksgiving, so we'll be back in December. We're gonna have a lady on that's gonna give some insights on building products, and stuff like that. And so how to leverage some of that stuff, and so we'll. I think we may have somebody lined up for the following week. I don't remember off the top of my head. A lot of opportunities, but stay connected. And there are plenty other on Thursday nights. There are plenty other opportunities going on out there, all over the world in your location. So just get connected and move forward and leverage some of these resources. All right. Bye bye,
Absolutely.
everyone. We'll
Good
see
night.
you all. See you all in a little bit. Take care. Bye bye.